Chapter 1. Ghosts and Queens POV. Alistair. I stared down at the envelope in my hand longer than necessary, as if time alone might dissolve it. It didn't. The seal remained pristine wax pressed with a dagger piercing a setting sun. The Solaris royal crest. Queen Tessa Solaris. My unease settled deep and slow. We did not receive royal correspondence. We survived by being invisible. I lifted my gaze to the men around the table. My brothers in arms. 5 suns ago, we had severed every remaining tie to the courts and built this guild on silence, precision, and blood earned quietly. We endured because we were ghosts. A letter like this could only mean one of 2 things. They had found us, or they needed something no one else could provide. "This isn't good," I said at last. My voice was calm, but tension coiled tight in my shoulders. Drake broke the silence first, as he always did when violence was an option. "If it's a threat, we can eliminate it." He said it evenly, already mapping angles and outcomes. Drake believed in solutions that ended problems permanently. I didn't bother reminding him that assassinating a reigning queen was not a viable contingency. Silas leaned back in his chair, hands laced behind his head, boot hooked casually on the table's edge. "Or maybe it's a love letter," he drawled. "Finally, someone appreciates my many talents: murder, charm, pie-making." Luciano scoffed softly. "If it's a contract, it's an unusual one. The Queen of Solaris commands an entire order of Shadow Knights. If she wants someone dead, she doesn't reach out to ghosts like us." He took a measured drink, eyes sharp despite the humor. "More likely one of our past jobs unsettled the wrong family." Silas leaned forward, grin sharpening. "Only one way to find out." I broke the seal. The parchment unfolded with a whisper that felt too loud. Thick vellum, scented faintly expensive. The sort of luxury meant to distract while the blade slid in. I scanned the letter once, then again, slower. My expression didn't change, but something heavy settled in my chest. I placed the document at the center of the table. Drake leaned forward. "Well?" "A contract," I said carefully. "But not like any we've seen." He folded his arms. "Who's the mark?" I slid the parchment toward them, keeping my face neutral. "Aurelia Von Tempest. 22 sun cycles. Mage, magickless. No circle. No affiliations. Allegedly stationed on the Drestin front lines." The room shifted. "And the reward?" Luciano asked, though his eyes had already sharpened. "Excessive," I replied. 150,000 gold. "A noble title. Land." Luciano went still. "That's not a bounty," he said quietly. "That's a purge." Silas's grin widened. "That's the kind of reward you offer when someone scares the throne." "I like her already." "I don't," I said, tapping the table once. "Her profile is deliberately vague. No height, no weight, no defenses listed. And yet Solaris is willing to grant a barony to see her dead. That doesn't add up." Drake flipped the page and froze. Silas leaned over his shoulder, grin faltering. Luciano inhaled sharply. "Is that a child?" Luciano asked. I took the portrait back before anyone else could speak. For a moment, the room disappeared. She couldn't have been more than 5 suns in the image. Pale silver hair cut unevenly. Blue eyes that seemed too aware for someone so young. There was dirt smudged on her cheek, like she'd just come in from playing. She looked small, exposed, and something in her gaze, quiet, sorrowful, far too old cotton, held me. I cleared my throat and turned the portrait over. A small pouch was clipped to the back. I loosened it carefully and tipped its contents into my palm. "Silver hair?" "Soft. Fine." My fingers curled reflexively before I forced them open again. I returned the strands to the pouch with care. Whatever this was, it wasn't just a kill order. Silas leaned forward, delighted. "Ah, the ceremonial token. Portrait, hair, royal seal. All we need now is a sacrificial goat and a summoning circle." "You all right, Alistair?" Luciano asked. "You look like someone just stabbed your conscience." "I don't know," I admitted. "Something's wrong." Drake scanned the name again. "Aurelia Von Tempest. I've heard it before." Silas nodded. "Duke of Tempest's adopted daughter. The one who tried to kill Prince Liam when they were both 5. I looked up sharply. "She tried to kill the prince?" "Killed his bodyguard," Silas corrected. "Found with her hands around the prince's throat. Allegedly jealous of the attention he got." Rumors say she poisoned the royal family more than once. And they didn't execute her? Luciano shook his head. No one knows why. Supposedly she got into the prince's head. He begged for mercy. She was banished instead. I frowned. She had no magic, and he was a Solaris heir. How does a magickless child overpower him? Luciano shrugged. That's the story. A story with holes big enough to ride a caravan through, I muttered. Silas sighed theatrically. Manipulative, poisonous, possibly homicidal. Stars, I think I'm in love. Luciano's brow furrowed. No circle in Drestin? That makes no sense. He was right. A circle wasn't an affiliation, it was fate. The primal choosing marked the strong, the dangerous, the worthy. A magickless person shouldn't survive the front lines, let alone remain stationed there. It makes sense, I said slowly. If she truly has no magic, the primal wouldn't choose her. Luciano shook his head. I don't believe she has none. She allegedly killed a grown man at 5. More likely she was chosen and rejected. Silas gasped. Or the Magick took one look at her and decided not to engage. You think she's really that bad? I asked. I hope so, Silas replied cheerfully. Because if she's not, I'll be disappointed. We get so few true villains. I turned to Luciano. How does someone without magic survive the Dresden front? They don't, he said flatly. Unless she's carrying relics or layered protections. Even then, survival would be unlikely. She's listed as having none, I said. Which means Solaris is lying or she's something else entirely. Luciano nodded. They're hiding something. And refusing a royal summons won't go unnoticed, I added. They want her dead. And they want distance. Silas's tone dropped. Then maybe something older marked her. I met his gaze. You still think she's evil? Oh, absolutely, he said brightly. Let me be the blade. Drake cracked his knuckles. If she's that dangerous, she dies. Luciano exhaled slowly. We take the contract, but we watch her first. I stared down at the portrait again. That wasn't the face of a villain. I didn't trust the queen. I didn't trust this contract. And whatever waited for us in Dresden was not going to be simple. And it sure as hell wasn't going to be fun. Like and subscribe for Chapter 2.